Hello and welcome to Champion Reviews. I'm Joe. Here with me is my co-host Dan.
Hello and greetings.
And before we start, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and to share the video because we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and we could use your help to do that. In return, we'll publish the first chapter of a dark fantasy horror novel. Now, this episode starts off with Beck doing one of his usual spiels at a pirate convention.
Pirate-themed gala.
And, of course, you have Beck who's stopped by Spider-Man like that.
Jonah whining and blaming Spider-Man.
Of course. But what's also funny is that Peter knows every street by heart in New York and just looks at one street and goes, "Ha! You position your deli, the illusion of a deli wrong, Beck. You have to go," and I forget the actual street mentions, but it's just, wow, this guy really knows his hometown.
Yeah.
Like, he knows it as well as Bruce in the comics knows Gotham or Clark Metropolis or Diana Gateway City.
And essentially he learned about pretty much the entire city, especially after becoming Spider-Man.
Yeah, well, he knows, I think, before a lot of New York, but after, he memorized every building. Beck gets chucked in the clinker. MJ gets cast in Miranda Wilson's former role. She goes to do it. There is an attempt to capture her. Then then there's an actual successful capture. Beck freaks out. As does Spider-Man. Now, Peter ends up tracking down the base, where Wilson's been hiding. And Beck ends up, how do I put it? Beck comes to help Spider-Man, but he also cackles and wastes Spider-Man's time with his useless automatons, buying time. And meanwhile, Miranda Wilson reveals that she's been hoping for the day that she could find herself a replacement body that looks like her old one and transfer her mind to that one. Tragically, though, it's impossible. And it's revealed over the course of the episode that Beck got all of his tech from Kingpin, especially his automatons, which were derivatives of Smythe's superior technology to Mysterio's cheaper one. Mysterio tried to improve them, but they seem less capable than the Spider Slayers. That said, Beck was the one who rigged some of the material for the stunt years ago when Miranda Wilson first did her movie, and it was his fault she got injured. Now, she ended up in the sewers because she was horrified by her face, and Beck found her, and rather than take her to a hospital to receive immediate medical attention, he allowed her condition to deteriorate till he attached her to some machines and made her half cyborg. Now, the problem is this has left her unable to live without her machines. Thanks, Beck. You're a real piece of work. But in turn, he did it because he was in love with her in a twisted way so that he'd condemn her to live in a manner that depended upon him. But then he reveals that the machine could not do the mind transfer thing. And that the hope was the only thing that kept her alive all those years. And that's why he lied to her. That and he wanted her to stay close to her because he was in love with her. Now, it was her idea of the stunt and whatnot, but Beck did rig it. And Beck ended up, the minute he finishes revealing everything, Miranda has a change of heart, allows Spider-Man and MJ to escape, and detonates the place to kill Beck and herself. Now, my question is, did she do that because she wanted to kill Beck, or just commit suicide? Which one, or is it both?
I'd say both.
Explain.
And because, on one hand, she's angry at how Beck lied to her, how he manipulated her and whatnot, and how he destroyed her one hope and lied about it.
And he ruined her life every step of the way.
Yeah. On the other hand,
what she got left to live for.
Yeah, it's like as an actress and supermodel.
She's done for. Like, hell, as a human being, she depends on those machines more than Vader depended on his.
So
He ruined her.
the question that you'd ask is, why continue? She
Yeah.
lost her hope because there's very few people on Earth that would be capable of doing such a feat, and none of them would be interested in her.
Yeah. Then you've
And
got
they're absolute madmen.
who could help her? In the animated universe.
You have Sinister.
Yeah.
You have Jackal, Miles Warren.
Who's even more brilliant than Sinister. And yeah, he's even more insane. Let's see. There's who else? I think that's about it.
Exactly.
Uh,
Mysterio's the saner option, but he wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, it's his fault she deteriorated to the point of needing to be a cyborg.
Mm-hmm.
He's at fault for everything. But
Yeah.
that said, Spider-Man gives a speech about how at the end, hope was the only, hope is the most important thing when living, and that Beck did not do the worst thing by telling her it was all a lie and stringing her along with that hope. That said, MJ describes it as evil, pure evil to treat Miranda that way, and that he should have taken her to a hospital. Once again, MJ is right, but Peter also has a point that hope is the only thing keeping us alive in life. The hope for better. That's really what it's all about. Hope is one of the single most important things in life. Now, let's rate this episode.
I have another lore detail that I paid attention to.
Hmm?
You know the accident that Beck rigged?
Yeah.
When Beck first showed up, it is commented that it's only been like a couple months.
Yeah.
And here it's they mentioned it
a few years.
2 years.
A few years.
A few years. So we know that the series from the beginning
to this point, it's been a few years. They didn't
Exactly.
say 2 years. They said a few.
All right.
A few years back. Although in your fanfic you're planning to bring in Miranda Wilson.
Yes.
As the new Mysterio.
Exactly.
And instead she's just simply scarred.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we're reusing those characters because there is potential there. And a female Mysterio would be an interesting twist.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, like, the fact that she hates Beck in your fic would also add to her character. And you know what? The fact that she's scarred like that would be interesting. Like, I actually think that that could have been used in the comics, but they didn't have. After Howard Mackie left, there was no one with any talent left over at Marvel to write Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where Dan's fanfic comes in. If you're curious about it, you could go find it on fanfiction. Third time's a charm. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and to share the video. And we're going to rate this. I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay. 2 1/4.
Okay. So also like and comment and tell us what you think of this episode. It was a pretty good one.
Yeah, doesn't stand out.
But that moment between Beck and her, where Beck confesses his love, is rather moving and heartbreaking. Because you realize how much he's taken from her. How much he's destroyed her. All out of his evil.
And he finally takes responsibility.
Not really.
I know. But he does tell her the truth.
Although only after he's completely destroyed her as a human being.
Yeah.
With that kind of love, who needs an enemy? I think Cletus Cassidy would have been kinder to her.
And yeah, I don't want to even think what Cassidy would have done to her.
Yeah, I know he's a serial killer, but Beck's just awful.
It was torture. Anyways.
Don't forget to share and subscribe once again. And until next time, stick around.